All right, so here we are in the DCI interview series, none other than Luke the Cardist. So really incredible artist in the mix of art and cards, right? This is a different thing here.
Yeah,
so we're going to make sure we flash up some of your cards so that way people can see them.
Cool.
But we're so happy to have you out here. So we're going to talk art. We're going to talk cards a little bit.
Cool.
But I want to start, as we always do, tell us about the Mint Collective as a show. Where are you at? You've been to some shows, but this thing is something different.
Yeah, and we just got done talking. I mean, this I had some expectations.
Yep.
I mean, I knew kind of who was going to be here. I knew kind of the level of show it was going to be, but obviously, like until you're in the midst of it, like you don't. This has been like just the coolest weekend, the coolest from the people I got to meet. And most importantly, like as an artist, getting to just show my passion to as many people as possible, and especially that are held in such high regard in the industry. Like it's just been next to none. I've been to shows before, but this is, and I heard some people saying like, thought it was bigger, or are there, I've been to this is not about the size of the room, it's about the firepower that's in
the room.
This is insane.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, even to the point where they had all these breakout sessions, and I know that you weren't on those panels, but they had one that was about art and cards, right? DJ Ski and some other people were a part of that one. So that is something that has definitely continued to grow, it feels like, in the hobby. So what would you say has been your favorite part of the weekend so far?
The people. I mean, I'm a people guy. I like talking. I
like
talking to people as is. So, I mean, so like my parents are here with me, and my dad has never been to a show before. So like this is all foreign to him. And he kept saying, he was like, the passion, man, I love it. Like everybody, the passion. And that's like so true, because you get to talk to so many like-minded people that all have the same passion that you do for sports and for collecting. And I said to people, I mean, obviously like getting to share my art, but just everybody I got to meet thus far.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, that makes sense. So go ahead and tell me about how you got started. What did that look like? Like, how did this origin story of Luke the Cardist come about?
Okay, so I'd say I've always been that guy that I've always been artistic.
Okay.
Always been a diehard sports fan. I played sports. I love sports. I watched sports. I obsessed about it. But I've always been artistic. So I always kind of I played in bands in high school when I was on the football team. Did. So I've always kind of straddled that fence. Always done art. I can remember drawing and I collected when I was little. So again, I remember growing up, there weren't cards that I remember like loving because of, this is so expensive. But I remember thinking, this looks so cool. So I've always been attracted to the look and the designs of these cards.
Yeah.
Fast forward however many years, I get back into collecting again, right?
Yep.
And I've always, throughout the years, I've always continued to do art. So I worked for Trader Joe's doing sign art. I worked a bunch of freelance. So I've always done art in one form or the other. But no offense to Trader Joe's, drawing cereal boxes only can keep you entertained for so long. So I never had anything that I was super passionate about or that like I woke up wanting to get to work to do. Fast forward into the collecting. I was on eBay. I bought a card thinking that it was printed, but thought it was a super dope design. I get it in the mail, and I went, this is painted. Like I didn't realize that someone had done what I do. They had painted on the card. And my first thought was like, that's kind of cool. Let me try. I think I could do this.
Sure.
So I get out my supplies, get out my paint. I took a 99-cent DK Metcalf optic card, and I painted on it. I threw it up on an eBay 3-day auction, and it sold for $205. And
wow! That's your first piece,
first card I ever did, and all the wheels started. I'm like that's pretty cool.
So shout out to whoever owns that. Maybe doesn't even know that's your first piece, right?
It's DK Metcalf. It has a bunch of DKs in the background. The Space Needle. That's the first card I ever did. Yeah.
Wow,
so it's out there somewhere.
Yeah, someone's got that. Okay, well, hopefully they'll see this. And
hopefully, if you're out there, thank you. You sparked everything.
You sparked it all.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
cool.
Pretty neat. So and from that point, it started to snowball, and I had fun. Like, aside, if it wouldn't have sold, it didn't matter because I remember I was at my kitchen counter and I had all I still had no studio set up and I did it and I enjoyed. I was like, this every step got cooler and cooler. And I did another. It was a Tyreek Hill, a little cheetah print, and it snowballed. And I mean, I'm talking within like a matter of a week or two. It was like I found my passion and we're off to the races.
Got it.
It turned into all day, every day sort of thing.
Okay.
I mean, and at that point, I was still working my previous job. I was traveling for work.
Okay.
I was on the road and I was miserable. I mean, I loved my company, but I was away from my wife and my daughter. But I started. The passion was so great that I am in a hotel room in South Dakota or Montana, and I have this mobile studio set up with me, and I'm working on cards every single night after, waking up at 6 a.m., working till 4, going and hitting the gym, and then coming back and painting for 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah.
So I found success. I started, picking up a little bit of a following, and the art started getting bigger, and I was selling, and my pieces were selling, and the commissions were coming in, and I started kind of that, well, if I'm doing this well, only putting in small minimal amount of effort, like what would happen if you were back home with your family and getting to put in 90%?
Sure.
And eventually we made the decision. It was time to come home, and I made the decision to do this full time and haven't looked back. And it's been nothing but rewarding, and it's great.
So do you tend to get most of your pieces commissioned, or are you doing just stuff that you like and then putting it out there for sale? Like, what does that look like?
So most of my work comes in the forms of commissions.
Okay.
So people reach out wanting a specific player done, maybe a specific way, or maybe on a specific card. But if I had to stick with just commissions, I probably would go crazy.
Sure.
And so that's where all these pieces that we see at the show come from. They're
Got
the
it.
pleasure pieces that I know I can sell
Yep.
And have them in my inventory, so to speak. But I want to have a display case full of pieces that when someone walks by, they might walk by one, see it out of the corner of their eye, and they're going to stop. They might not even know what they're looking at, but they see that color.
Got it.
And I want quantity, and I want to have an inventory for people to look at. The next step when I get home is a website, store, e-commerce store, to where we're going to be able to have my customers be able to go on a Tuesday night with a click of a mouse and buy a piece, rather than see me in a show or inquire in person or DM, something like that. So that's definitely the next step.
Gotcha. And then every piece that you make is a one of one, right? Like you don't remake multiple of the same.
Yep. So I've never reproduced or reprint anything that I've done. I mean, there's even been examples where I did a thing with Pole Wax and Jorge Masvidal.
Okay.
And people bought my Jorge Masvidal prism.
Yep.
But I had to do quantity. Each one was slightly different.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
That way there's still one-of-ones.
Yep.
And I get there, if I tried to replicate one,
sure,
it would never come out identical. There's no way, because there's so many little perfect imperfections all throughout each one that kind of make them unique to their own. So nothing's ever reprinted or reproduced.
That's really cool. So what was your biggest goal coming out to this event this weekend?
Is to reach the otherwise unreachable.
Okay.
The people that we see on social media that we hold in this hobby in such high regard.
Yeah.
That otherwise, they might not respond to a DM, or they have so many coming in their inbox through their comments that are walking around here and have been every day. And so, and it's I've gotten to talk to so many great people. So that was my goal, and glad to say we accomplished it.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Who are some of those people that you've had a chance to meet with over this that you can talk about?
So Jeff Wilson, sports card investor. We had some time. I did a piece for Jeff. Jay from Mojo Sports.
Yeah.
Chad Blez. We talked for a little bit. And also friends in the hobby, right?
Sure.
Like card artists and people that I've seen that haven't yet met face to face. Fanatics.
Okay.
Tops, So all these the companies that, as card artists, we weren't sure for a long time whether or not they knew we were out there, right? Because they're worried about their products and what they're producing, and we're doing our thing. And it was nice to hear that, talking from people from every manufacturer, to know that not only are they aware that we're out there, but they're very much thinking about the art aspect side of things too. So there's a lot of things that are going to be coming, that are really cool to see in terms of where we're going with the art side of these companies. Pretty neat.
So is the art of cards, is that a competitive space or is it like a respect space? Like what's that like between artists?
So definitely there are a bunch of artists that are trying to lift each other up, and trying to help promote each other's work and try to collaborate. There's a bunch of guys that are doing that. Just like with every hobby, there's going to be your sour grapes in there that kind of doing their own thing, or maybe you might not agree with or not. But no, there's definitely overall fantastic group of guys that are trying, and women, that are trying to do great work. And in all different mediums, which is cool. Like I paint, but there's a lot of guys that are, they're cutting and they're assembling their cards and layering them. There's a girl, a nice lady that does, she stitches. Stitches on the front, and it's sewing, and she does great work. I mean, there's plenty, digital graphics. So there's all this different type of art, but it's a very uplifting, positive space. I'm the type of guy that I'm 100% supportive of everybody, and I will, give tips and suggestions and hints and talk with anybody. I also I stay in my own lane. I concentrate on my own work and let the work speak for itself. But overall, it's every day you see new card artists popping up. It's pretty neat.
That's awesome. Really neat. That's perfect. So sports card grading, obviously probably not something in the card market that's in the art market of it. Mm-hmm. But I think that if we talked about grading from the aspect of authentication, understanding that that's an original Luke the Cardist piece of art, I think there can be an interesting tie between the grading companies and eventually these artists that are doing this stuff too, right?
Almost like the companies being backed by the companies, but from an authentication standpoint.
Sure,
because I had someone that stopped and they asked me about grading, and I said, what would you grade it on? He's like, well, I said, but not the surface. He's like, what? I said, well, absolutely not, because the second, technically speaking, the second my paint touches that card, the surface should be a 0. But yes, and that's something that I'm hoping as we continue to be validated as artists in this space, that as our individual brands will continue to be validated to where people would want to know if, yes, that's an authentic Luke the Cardist piece, or yes, that's an authentic Sharkbait piece, or or an LJ's piece, or whatever it is. They want to make sure that they're getting the real thing. So I definitely, as it grows, there's so much excitement around it right now, because we are headed in a more artistic, just overall, just the hobby in general. It's goes in the cool cutting edge, the hip, and it's really, really neat to be a part of it. Really
that's cool. I know over the course of this weekend, we actually had some pieces from Sharkbait as well. They brought us over some stuff. And then Andy Friedman as well. Not only joined the podcast, but also we looked at some of his art too. Cool. So it's been really cool to see, because it's such a mix. Andy does watercolor. You're doing it's a paint marker, right, on card. Sharkbait does cut up pieces that become this shadow box version of a card. So really cool. So okay, is there anything that you think that the grading industry, not even in your portion to art cards, but should be doing better, stuff that they can improve on?
Well, I think overall, and this is from someone who, you and I have had separate conversations about the grading. I'm barely naive to, just because when I jumped in and when I was ready to get stuff graded, it was already so insane that it wasn't, But I know from a sense of price point, obviously, that I know no one, the everyday collector, especially with how they want to grow this industry, you can't charge hundreds of dollars to grade a card to, to Joe Schmo, because they might only be able to spend $100 on the card itself, let alone the grading. So, and I think having, and this is me particularly, I've had a few things graded or authenticated autograph wise. I think to have different options, slab wise, or in terms of specifics of the card when you're authenticating an auto. I think that was cool, as opposed to it just saying trading card or some sort. You still do want to see a little more specifics while getting it authenticated, to kind of that mix between the slab grade versus just a regular authentication, finding a happy medium between those turnaround times.
Yeah.
I know that's
common.
And luckily, I don't have any out there waiting in the queue anywhere.
Yep.
But I know that's generally speaking something that people hear about. But I think, especially with the art and the grading companies, just cool encapsulation.
Yeah.
Right? And whether or not that means something, whether regarding the label or the physical, slab itself.
Sure.
I think there's so many different, because I'm in one touches right now, as you know, but I'm always thinking about how I want to encapsulate it. And but to stand out.
Yeah,
right? To be
100%
different than everybody else. So.
That makes sense. Cool. The next 2 to 5 years in the hobby, what does that look like?
Well, obviously, we want to see it grow,
Yep.
right? And grow more. I mean, the growth already is crazy, really, really neat. But I think with the people in charge and that are taking the reins, and the companies that continue to emerge that are becoming like the heavy hitters and the big guns here, I think we're really in good hands from what I've seen. And I think I would like to hope that the everyday collectors are kept in mind just as much as the guys that are able to spend $100,000 on a case.
Sure.
Because if we keep all the guys on the able to continue to enjoy the hobby like we want to, on the lower end of things, then it's only going to thrive longer.
Yeah.
Because I think when it becomes an exclusive, unless you have X amount of money to participate, it's going to turn a lot. It would turn a lot of people off. So, but having said that, knowing where we're headed and who's in charge and kind of what their vision is, from what I've heard, I think we're looking pretty good.
That's awesome. Yeah. Perfect. So how do people find you? If they want to find Luke the Cardist, how do they find you?
I live at 87. So Instagram, super heavy on Instagram. So Luke the Cardist on Instagram. Twitter, I'm still fairly new in the Twitter space, but gaining some followers and a little bit of a presence. But that's just at the Cardist on Twitter. And like I said, Instagram heavy. Continue to pay attention, because soon enough we will have web store, and I'm hoping it'll be a website/store, so you'll get a little bit of behind the scenes. Because I think, like I do here, or attempt to do in person, is this live art. I think it's great for myself as a brand, and other card artists, for the community and the hobby to see the work that goes behind these cards. It helps give a better understanding and a better appreciation for what we do. So I think having stuff like that, to where people see what my process is like, super transparent. Don't try to hide anything like what I'm doing or how I do it. So I have no problem anyone seeing from start to finish how my cards are made. So having stuff like that, that's hopefully here coming up pretty soon. But it's Instagram at Luke the Cardist.
Perfect. So if you want anything, if you want a commission piece, they can reach out to you directly.
Yes, yeah. So DMs for commissions. We're currently accepting commissions for May and June.
Okay.
Is what the turnaround.
So I need to get my Bo Jackson commission in soon.
Bo Jackson needs to come in soon. Yeah, we'll get something done for you.
Perfect.
But so we're accepting commissions, and looking forward to the next big one. Right, we're going to be in Dallas. So that's the big thing. It'll be great for us and get to see you more often. But spoke with the guys at the card show today, and the goal for myself is to be set up there every show, and that'll become my home show.
Okay,
so
great.
You can expect to see me at the Dallas Card Show every show that comes up, and then periodically when a Mint or a National or a Culture Collision come up, I'll be attending those big ones as well.
Gotcha. So we'll see you at National this year as well?
We'll be at National.
Do you have a booth at National?
I do not have a booth, but I will be wearing
you'll be easy to find.
Yeah, walking with a beard and the big grin on my face.
Cool. Maybe we'll see if we can set you up to do like a live presentation. So we have a booth at National as well. Maybe we can see if we can get you some table space for a little bit and do like a couple hours on sign.
That'd be awesome.
Perfect. Awesome. Luke, appreciate it as always.
Likewise, man.
So thank you very much.